The member for Parkes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Agriculture and Water Resources. Will the Deputy Prime Minister update the House on the benefits of Australia's meat industry and economy from our export trade deal with China? Is the Deputy Prime Minister aware of any threats to this industry and the thousands of hard-working Australians that it employs?
The Deputy Prime Minister has the call.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the honourable member for his question, and he, more than most, understands the huge benefits we get from our agreements with China. And he would understand more than most how we are turning around the agricultural sector. In fact, to the 12 months of December 2016, 23.7% growth. No other sector in percentage growth came even close, and none of them were even within about a quarter of it. And no other sector added more to our GDP than agriculture, and this is a substantial turnaround from the previous government, where under Labor, where it actually went backwards. I remember in the last quarter by 0.5%. And the agricultural production in Australia will exceed $60 billion, and this is the first for that. $12.5 billion of that is in beef cattle, and the member for Parkes would understand that, with a substantial beef area, and of course the selling centre of Gunnedah, one of the most substantial selling centres certainly in New South Wales and in our nation. Beef cattle accounted in the members' electorate alone, to give you an anecdotal, about $300 million for beef cattle and calves across 876 farms in northwest New South Wales. And on Friday, Australia and China signed the joint statement of enhancing inspection and quarantine cooperation between Australia and China. This agreement allows us to export more chilled beef. What it is with chilled beef is, now that we're sort of capping out on our volumes, we're increasing our values. We're getting more for the price of what we sell. In fact, we're worth about $400 million a year. And we're finding more processing plants so that we can actually export beef into China, and we're getting more capacity for ourselves to be part of the approval mechanism of exporting chilled beef to China. And I know that the agreement means that the 4,000 red meat processors employed in one organisation alone, Tees, that they'll get more work, because we're always trying to make sure that we get more work for the working men and women of Australia. The 13,000 supporting jobs in rural Australia just for Tees alone. And Tees processes around about 1.5 million cattle. And this allows us to get in meat work such as in Rockhampton and Capricornia and Beenleigh, for Ford and Billawheeler and Cedar Flynn, in my own seat in Tamworth, in Wagga, in Narracourt and Barker, and feedlots. But this is how we actually get our economy to turn around. One of the big impediments, of course, though, is the price of power. The price of power has been going through the roof. And for Tees alone, it's $39 million a year. And in Narracourt, it's gone up by around 60% since 2015. Now, the member for Parkes would understand it's time for the Labor Party. I heard the member for Gorton talk about hairdressers and beauticians, and they're a very important part of the workforce, no doubt. But it's time they started worrying about the meat workers. It's time they started worrying about the timber workers down at Hayfield. It's time they started worrying about the shearers and making sure that those who were their original constituency are actually looked after. It's time they started looking after the blue-collar workers of Australia and stop worrying about Annandale.
Has concluded. The